Years ago.
Okay. We'll talk to you in a second here. Good evening and welcome. I am live and I want to welcome you to my podcast, Fight CPS Stop Taking Our Children. And I'm very fortunate to have a guest tonight, never been on before. They'll talk about her CPS case. She's from Summer County in Arkansas, and her name is Stephanie Bakken. And I'll introduce you in a moment here. I want to explain to everybody of how to interact with this live podcast. You found me on Facebook, Fighting CPS, and I'm broadcasting on YouTube using the StreamYard application. And there are four ways you can interact with this podcast. One is just by being in the podcast, listening, taking notes, and using emojis like smiley faces, hearts, thumbs up, those kinds of things. But if you like to maybe express a comment or a question about CPS, what I'm going to do is tell you that in order for Stephanie and myself to help you, please text in your comment about your CPS question. And all I ask you is to show your name. Your first name is fine. Some of you may have unusual names like Jumping Buffaloes or Dancing Hippopotamus or something like that. I like a name like Mary, Sue, Peggy, Stephanie, whatever. And then please list your city and your county and your state. Now, I also get people, I've had 13 countries that have texted in, so worldwide around. I've had Bangladesh and New Delhi, India. I've had three countries in Africa, the Liberia on the west side in North Africa, and then the province on the west side of South Africa. And then I've had Rwanda near Lake Victoria, Central East Africa. And then I had Mozambique, which is across from Madagascar on the east side of Africa. Then we move up further north to Europe, and I've had England, Scotland, and Wales, and Denmark and Sweden. Across the pond, I've had North America, which is both sides of Canada, and then all the 50 states, including Washington, D.C. I've had Mexico, and then down in South America, I've had Guyana opposite Venezuela to the east, on the east coast of South America and north of Brazil. Then across the pond, I have Australia. So those are my international countries that text in. Everybody's welcome to talk about CPS. Now, what I call CPS is the Child Protection System. Every state will have different names. Like in Arizona, it's Department of Children's Services. In California, it's Child Protection Services. What's it called in West Virginia, Stephanie? What's it called?
It's called DHR.
Department of Health and Resources.
Yep.
Okay, DHR is what it's called for in Arizona. So, a second way to interact with the podcast has been to do comments. Try to be complete with your case when you text in. Tell me what your family structure, your kids, the allegations, and how your kids were taken, and then where you're at on your case. And the third way is to be a guest, like Stephanie is tonight. Stephanie contacted my show producer, which is Grace. She works behind the scenes, and I want to thank Grace for her hard work and for helping getting these people aboard. Now, it's so good that we have a guest. We have had a guest for a couple days, and I can have up to many as 9 guests at a time, a total of 10 separate windows. And all you have to do is email Grace at vincentwdavis.com. Grace@vincentwdavis.com. And then we're going to, my show times are 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time and 7 o'clock at night Pacific Standard Time. They're 1 hour podcasts. And I'm on every night. Now on Sunday, there's an exception. I come on at 10 o'clock because I'll have to go with my family to church. And then certain nights a week may change. But right now, the game that I be watching Friday Night Lights is not on Friday, but it's on Saturday. But they're in Hawaii, and they'll be 3 hours behind us. So I'll see the game first, then do my show all from home. So nothing else has changed. So please pick a date, either Monday or Wednesday or one of the 7 days, Monday through Sunday, and one of the show times, morning or evening, and tell Grace. She will contact you, give the link to SteamYard, and tell you what to do and not to do on the show. There's no smoking or eating or chewing gum or eating nuts or ice or anything on the show. Also, we don't use the first names of children. We don't use the names, period, of children, judges, or social workers. So I've told everybody how they interact. And tonight, since we have a guest, I would like Stephanie Brocken to start with her case, how it first started with CPS. And I am so welcome to have you here, Stephanie, and very excited to help you. And I imagine everybody listening would love to hear what you have to say.
So I was on the show a couple of years ago before I had more children, but now I have 4. There are 5, 4, 3, and 1, and their father's a narcissist. And he basically moved me here, to me and the kids here, waited 6 months to file for custody, and got an emergency removal through the courts. And then, of course, the courts contacted CPS because they were like, whoa, what's going on type scenario. And he lied, and he went and said that I was suicidal and that I...
Who went to the courts and lied? Who was that?
My kid's dad.
Okay, so you have a kid's dad and you have 4 children, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, these 4 children, are they all the same dad?
Yep.
Now, is the dad still involved in the picture?
Oh yeah, he's the reason why all this is happening.
Okay, so it seems like you two have a disagreement about the children, and so he's trying to get custody, and you're trying to get custody, correct?
Well, yeah, basically, and CPS got involved.
Now, CPS got
from
involved.
The court.
How did they get involved at first? Who contacted CPS?
The courts did.
Okay, and how did the courts get involved?
Because he went and got an emergency removal order on me to be removed from the house.
Okay, and when he did that, he went to was he trying to get a divorce from you, or he still wants to be married?
No, because we weren't married.
Okay,
at all.
So you were a boyfriend, girlfriend, or lovers?
Yeah, we were. I wouldn't even consider it that. I was the kid's main caretaker. I did everything for them while he basically laid on his back and did whatever he wanted. And now he's father of the year. And now I'm having to go through this, and this for the kids. And he's the abuser, not me.
So you went to court to gain custody, and the court alerted CPS because your husband made some allegations, right?
Right.
What were the allegations that your husband made?
He didn't say I hurt my kids, but he said I was on drugs and that I was suicidal and that I hit him, so he feared for him and the children's safety. Boom. He hadn't even been home in like a day. Then boom, they came and they told me I had 5 to 10 minutes to get my stuff and get out. So
he's accused you of having mental issues, and he's accusing you of domestic violence.
Yep.
And did he get a restraining order?
Well, they gave him one for 2 weeks for him and the kids. That's how I was removed. And when we went back to court,
when you guys had your case about the restraining order, was it dropped, or was it proven to be true?
His portion of it was dropped, or my kid's portion of it was dropped, but his is still in place. But because of all this, because I reached out to them myself, because I know that he's the abuser, and if they're gonna take kids from a mother that did everything, then they need to take them away from the abuser. So I reached out to them for help, and I haven't seen my kids in I haven't seen them since July 9th. So 2 months it's been, and I was granted, to have them Monday through Wednesday. Then he went back and told social services and everyone that I was on drugs. I've been in recovery for like almost 7 years. And I begged them. I gave them drug tests. I gave them everything that I could think of, and nothing. I mean, I finally get to see them on Sunday, but I have to go through a whole different organization to even see them because of his lies. I mean, his lies are going to catch up with him eventually. But this, CPS made it seem like they understood, the abuse I was going through, and we were going to work together as a team. And it's like, it's really not a team. Like, I've been kind of like snapping on them a little bit because it's like I feel like they're not doing their job. And it's like the person that is taking care of the children, I get kept from them when he's the abuser. Like, it just doesn't make sense.
Yeah. Here's the thing: is okay. Does he uh, does he have a job?
No.
All
He's
right.
using
So
my
how's
children for
how's he
financial for
supporting the
financial
children? How's he supporting you if he doesn't have a job?
because he was getting income, and he was in the process on the low getting trying to get income for the kids through social security because two of the kids are special needs. And he's
Um,
on HUD and all that. That's the whole thing. Like, we and him both were on a HUD voucher, like, application together. Then, like, what in the process of him getting that removal order, he went and called HUD as well. So he got me removed off the lease, got me a removal order, and then yeah. So, and I don't know anybody from Adam around here. Like, I had to search, you know what I mean? And I went through some stuff, like, I had to sleep on a cardboard box, and and I CPS knew about this, and I'm like, and I would go there and beg and plead with them, like, just let me see my kids. I didn't do anything wrong. And they're like, well, it's not about what you did wrong, it's about what you can do better as a parent. And I'm just like, well, what do you mean? So you're saying the abuser is the better parent? I mean, it's kind of, you know what I mean? It's kind
yeah,
of
that's the
backwards
sad
there.
part about it. Sometimes when one parent acts first, they get
Hmm.
control of the situation. Now, is he does he have a paid attorney or is he using a court appointed attorney?
He ain't using no attorney.
He uses no, so he's pro se. He's trying to fight it in court.
Right. He's just trying to fight it in court, and that's that. But it's not going to be that because I
Well, no,
spent,
because if he doesn't get an attorney, they'll eat him alive. And how about you? Can you get an attorney?
I mean, I've been trying to get one.
Yeah, that is one of the hardest things to get because
I
without an
tried legal
attorney,
aid too.
they're gonna eat you up alive because CPS is not honest. They will trick you. They are not transparent. They will get revenge. They want. So where are the children?
with
Who's
him
watching the children?
with him. And that's the scary part about it, because everybody's done
How
said,
did he get custody of the children?
because he went and got that emergency removal and they gave him temporary full custody. And then he went
Yes,
back
but
and
does he
got,
have to prove he has a home to live in?
yeah,
Does
he
he
has a
live with
home,
you?
the apartment that we were living in together. That's why he got me removed. So he would get
Right,
HUD.
but
So he
where is
would,
he living now? Where is he
in
living
that
now?
apartment, in that same apartment,
Where are you living?
an hour away from him.
Why did you have to come out of the apartment?
Because he went and, well, his name was first on the lease, first on the HUD. And I told you he went and got that emergency removal order. And by the time that came to court, then when it became to court, the lease was supposed to be signed and renewed basically, and my name didn't get put on it that time. So I got put out of the whole situation. And that's why I haven't seen them.
Now, do you have visitation rights to your children?
That's the whole thing. I was supposed to get them Monday through Wednesdays. Like, I was granted that through the courts because the courts couldn't find anything against me because of his lies. Like, I went and got a psychological evaluation done. Like, and they couldn't find anything wrong besides I was depressed. And I was like, well, wouldn't you be depressed if you were in my shoes? Like, like, I moved away from everything I knew, all my resources, all my stuff, because I thought everything was going to be fine and we were going to be family. And it didn't become that. It became complete chaos. And like, there were like multiple calls made to like, and they showed up at the, and they asked me if there was domestic violence going on in the home, like, and I said yes. I was like, abusive, like mental abuse. Why? They're like, well, is it being done by, around the children? And I'm like, no, not really, not per se. And they're like, well, what does he do for the kids? And I said, absolutely nothing. And that's when he asked, like,
Hold on a second, Stephanie. Grace, if you can hear me, somehow Stephanie and myself are pulled out of the room. Do you know how you can help us? Grace, she's behind me, working behind the scenes. Grace, if you can hear me, we are not on the podcast. Welcome, Faye. I'm glad you're here. We have a guest tonight, Stephanie Broken from West Virginia, who had a husband that gained custody of the children and the apartment, and Stephanie's trying to see her children and gain custody. It's a false allegation that her other half, she's not married, but her partner is trying to get the children. I don't know why we're not in there. Let
do
me
you want
write
me to go
Grace.
out and come back in maybe?
No. There's something going, Grace. We are not on the broadcast. Do not see. Do not know what happened. Okay, we can get this fixed. I don't understand.
Oh no, it says it's still
There we
live.
go. There we go. Somehow, you see, I have a touchpad and I wish I had a mouse because sometimes my touchpad, I will touch something accidentally by laying my finger on the touchpad. I don't know if you're using a computer that has a touchpad or not.
But I know what you mean. But yep, I've offered multiple drug tests. I've offered it all. I mean, and it's like they don't want it. They want it when they want it. They don't want when you offer it. You know what I mean?
Well, okay, here's the thing is about testing. And I have a single mom in the room named Faye Manley, who's a very experienced mother with CPS. And she was brought up in foster care.
So wasn't I.
And she, was in and out 5 times. And when she later on in life grew up as an adult and had a relationship, she had children.
Mm-hmm.
And she had 2 children, but they were taken away. And so
Were they taken away because she was in the system type thing?
well, that was part of it. She also was given an ultimatum to choose between her son, who was the special needs, and her daughter. Her daughter was 4 at the time. I think her son was 15. And so she went and picked her son because of the special needs. It was
Right.
not her choice. Now, I will put on the screen what she said. She says, hello, hope everybody is having a good and blessed night. She also says her biological mom got a case open on me too.
Yep.
So
I've had that
her
happen too.
biological mom was against Faye too. So
But it's because she was probably doing better than, you know what I mean? Than
yeah,
what
you're
she
right.
was growing
So
up.
her
And it
mother
made
was
her
the fault
jealous.
of her in foster care. She loves her mother, but her mother's passed away. But she had a very abusive mother. Her mother was always strung out on drugs.
Yeah, so was
Faye
her
is a
mom.
remarkable woman because as a small child, she was raped and molested and trafficked
Yep,
into the sex
I had
industry.
all that stuff happen to me too, and I
So
was
you
in the
were once in
system.
foster care before you started having children, right?
Oh yeah, I was in
Okay,
foster
well
care. I was in 4 different
that's where your
homes.
CPS case starts. You were once
Well,
in foster care. Were you in and out, or were you in there once, or
I
how
was
did it
just in
go?
there one time for 4 years.
And that was because your mother or father or what?
Because my mother and her boyfriends.
So was your biological father ever involved?
He couldn't. He passed away. My mom never gave him a chance.
Oh, I'm so sorry
And
to
like
hear
he
that.
tried to fight, he did. He tried to fight and he spent thousands of dollars trying to get us because I guess he was hearing what was happening. I mean, because me and my sister, so there's three of us that are by the same mom and dad. And
Yeah.
my mom left West Virginia, came to Virginia with us, and we were being molested from age 2 to 9, and then from our babysitters that which were female, 9 to 10, and then she was abusive. She was an alcoholic. She did all types of drugs. I knew what crack was at 5. You know what I mean? Like
Right.
it's
Well,
been my whole
Faye's
life.
right. Faye's kids were taken when they were 10 and 5. So her daughter was 5, her son was 10, and
And
they
how
gave
long
her an
did it
ultim-
take her to get her child back?
they were gave an ultimatum, and
So
so
it was either you pick this kid or that kid or nothing.
yeah, I'll get her the answer in a second here. Um, Let me see.
That's a long time.
She got her
For
son
sure.
back at 14, and my daughter got adopted. So at age uh, 10 and 5, and 4 years later, her daughter was adopted. She got her son, and now she's trying to get custody of her son for his special needs. And she was given the ultimate um, thing to choose between the children. No mother should go through that. No mother should go through that. And it's serious. Faye, by the way, is from Richmond, Kentucky. So we have Arkansas. I'm from California, and Faye is from Kentucky. And what we're trying to do is help out Stephanie get her get her kids back. And oops, we just lost Stephanie. Hopefully, she'll reconnect and connect it back in there. Now we had a guest tonight, which was very nice. Um, she's a lady who lived with a guy that fathered her 4 children, but he wanted custody, and he's been doing nothing about giving the mother a hard time. Now, I don't know, who's saying right or wrong, but the mother is involved in the show. And I think anybody that comes on um, really cares about their children. So hopefully, um, Stephanie will be back from Arkansas. But right now, she fell off. So, Faye, what do you think that this mother should do? It got started because she was in foster care of herself, and then she started having 4 children. And the guy she had the 4 children with turned out to be a bad apple. He filed a custody battle in criminal court. The judge got a hold of CPS because the father was making allegations that weren't true, saying the mother had drug problems and the mother wasn't stable. And so they found out that she is stable. She doesn't have drug problems. She's supposed to see the children 4 times a week, but it's not happening. So, what do you think, Faye, we should recommend her to do? I'm waiting for Faye's answer to the question. Now, we're waiting for Stephanie to come back. I don't know if Grace can call her to get her back because I don't have her phone number, but maybe my show producer can get a hold of Grace and get her back. Um, there's a fourth way of interacting with this podcast, and I didn't put my phone number up because we had a guest on the show, and it's hard to have two people talking at the same time. But my phone number's up. This is the fourth way you can interact with this podcast. You would call my office phone number, Bob Pace, call in 626 698 0990. That's 626 698 0990. And that is the fourth way. The first way was being in the podcast, listening and taking messages. Now, Faye says, well, if the judge court ordered her 4-week visitations, then she needs to file a contempt motion against the father of the children to the judge for interfering with her parenting time and breaking court order. So I agree with you there. So we'll save that note for there. I'm just waiting for her to come back, and maybe my show producer can help bring her back on the show, because she'll have the phone number for Stephanie Bakken from Arkansas. But that's a good answer, Faye. Now, you and I were talking about what you like to talk about tonight, and there's a couple things, and that's one of the things that came up was the mental illness of people. It seems like CPS is always trying to play that they're psychiatrists and they know mental health issues. Unless they're the clinical psychiatrists, they can't diagnose, they can't prescribe drugs, but they tried to. They're illegal when they do that. And so Faye has come up with some good information about taking a mental test. You got to be careful. If you take the test that the CPS gives you to take, it can have false readings. You need to take your own. You need to contact your medical insurance and get a mental evaluation of yourself right away to show that you're not have mental issues. And you need to have that doctor come and testify before the court in CP dependency court. You need to have that doctor, because just because you got a report, it's hearsay. They need to be in court to say the information's true. So it's really important right there. It's all right to gather evidence on papers, but anything you try to prove, that person that made that evidence has to be in court to verify it. Has to be and verify there. So Faye did talk about mental and also families that may have disabilities. Like children have disabilities, but parents do. There's the ADA, which is the Disability Act, and is supposed to protect parents if they need assistance on things there, but they're being abused and overlooked by the child protection system. Same way as goes for the children. Okay, it's good, Stephanie. We'll get you back in. We'll get you back in. Do you have the link that Grace gave you? Also, I can ask Grace, if you hear me, can you send the link to Stephanie so that she can get back in? You will be able to get back in. You just need to get that link, and they'll get you back in, Stephanie. They'll get you back in. Okay, Grace says you have the link. Grace says that you have the link, and so you get back in. I have gone on with the show, Grace. I have right now Faye helping me with the mental issues of CPS and how to fight them if they say that you have mental issues and so forth. So you have the link, Stephanie. All you do is click it, and it will get you to the room, and I will add you to the podcast. I'll add you to the podcast, the link. There you go. There you go. Welcome back. Welcome
Sorry,
back.
hold on a second. Let me fix this.
Computers aren't the greatest thing, so I
Well,
understand.
really, phones aren't, but
Are you using your phone or are you
yeah,
using a computer?
I'm using a phone.
Okay, that's part of the problem. Phones are not the greatest thing to use.
Yeah.
Take your time
Um.
and set yourself up. You're perfectly fine here.
Okay. That light.
Okay,
That's what I'm worried about.
there's that one light that's behind
I'm just
you.
gonna have to.
Can you maybe
Yeah, I know. I
rotate
see it.
yourself 180 degrees so the light is behind you? Or not behind you, but
Maybe
now you've stopped there. Now, what Faye had an answer for you. Okay, thank you, Grace. She thinks maybe your internet may be the problem. I don't know. But Faye had an answer for you about your visitation. Okay, I'm going to put it up
Uh
again,
huh.
Stephanie, so that you can read it. It says if the judge
Yeah, I seen
had a
that.
court ordered her for 4 times a week visitation, then she needs to file a contempt motion. Do you understand what a contempt motion is? Look it up on the internet.
Right, but what he had did was when that order became, he went and filed and said I was on drugs. So then they turned it to supervised. That's what I'm trying to explain.
Well, that's
He
fine.
went and lied.
Supervised visitations because he has to prove you're on drugs. Now, do you have a medical insurance?
Yeah, I've got Medicaid and Medicare.
Okay. What you need to do
I've
is
already got
contact
you
your
though.
medical insurance and have a drug test done by your medical
I
insurance.
get drug tested weekly, and you know what I mean. I've been in the clinic for like seven
Right. And
years.
have you given the reports to the child
Yeah.
protection system
Yeah,
in
and
Arkansas?
because they're saying basically they're just there to for the best interest of their child. Basically, they're not trying to hear nothing that I have to say. I have to wait for this or I have to wait for that, and I know that's not the case. They could make moves if they wanted to.
Yeah, they don't want to. One of the reasons, and I'm really sad to say that, is they're picking on you because you once were in foster care.
Yeah, they are because that was brought up. The Garnett Lydom brought that up, and she's like,
They
"Why were
think,
you moved 4 times in foster care?" And I'm like, "Yo, or why weren't you adopted?" And I'm like, "What does that have to do with my kids?"
well, they're trying to disprove you be a parent. And if you're argumentative with CPS, they'll retaliate and they'll come after you because see what they're interested. They're not interested in the father. They're not interested in you as the mother. They're interested in making $1 trillion business. Every
Yeah, well,
child,
they are.
every child
Because
that
it gets taken, they get a
they get
paycheck.
money from the state, who in turn gets it from the federal government. And it's
Mm-hmm.
approximately $20,000 per child per month that they get.
Mm-hmm.
And so if you have 100 families with 3 children, that's $6 million a month.
Mm-hmm.
1 month, 300 children, $6 million. Now,
It's almost like
if
money
it,
laundering in its own little way,
it
if you think
is, it
about it.
is. That's they traffic children into foster care because it's a money thing. It's a money
And that's
thing.
what I'm afraid of is like once everything becomes what it is, because I was in the system or because I'm in, active, I've been in recovery 7 years, you know what I mean? And because of that, I'm being picked on. But because none of his stuff has came to light, but it's going to, because I sent them stuff as well.
Right.
But
Now,
I mean, they want me to go through parenting classes and all that. But the whole thing about it is they want us to learn how to co-parent. But he was never co-parenting because he wasn't helping with the kids. But he's trying to make it seem like he was when he wasn't.
um, well, Faye, when you were gone, she and I were talking about another important issue called the ADA, which is the Disability Act, and it allows for the Department of Children Services, CPS, the CPS system, to give accommodations. You see, in Kentucky, it's called the DCF, the Cabinet of DCF. I just use CPS because that way I don't have to change from different acronyms to acronyms. But anyway, the ADA allows for the CPS to give accommodations for longer time to finish classes and programs, interpretates longer time to finish case plans, and if the children have yet have physical, mental, or learning difficulties, um, the CPS also has to too, but they never do.
No, they don't because my both of the boys are special needs, and they just started school, and I miss that, and I've never missed anything ever in their life. And
Yeah,
this is all like it has made me depressed. I mean, it really
right.
has. And it's
Well,
really pulling a toll because they made it seem like they were on my side, and they told me to send what proof I have on him. So I did that, and it absolutely did nothing. And it's like all they do, they go see the kids twice a week.
well,
They're like, and
you
every
should
time we
still
come, they're
get
happy.
your
They're
visits,
this,
even
they're
if
that,
supervised.
but
Are you
like
still doing? Are you still
but
doing
they're still
supervised visits?
asking where I am. They
Are you still doing supervised visits? Stephanie, are you doing supervised visits?
I haven't seen my kids since
Well, you told me that they changed the supervised
in two
visits. Are you
months.
still seeing them? Are you still seeing them in
Today
supervised visits?
was 2 months. And
Well,
that's
you
the whole
told me you
thing.
still
Like,
have. Okay, I'm confused. You told me they still you still have supervised
I
visits.
haven't even started them because
What is stopping you from seeing your children?
he kept going and getting deported.
I'm sorry, you're cutting out. What is stopping you from seeing your children?
Huh.
I know it's hard, Stephanie, but unless you're proactive, unless you get out there and see your children, even if they're supervised, you're showing that you care as a parent. When you don't see your children, even when they tell me they're supervised, then they think the parent doesn't want to see the children. I'm trying to help you, and Faye is too, but you got to be really active in this mess that you got yourself in there. She may be having internet problems, Faye. Um, Maybe she didn't like what I was saying about supervised visits, but it seems like she has a lot of anger issues with the situation that is interfering with her being an effective parent. Yeah, good point, Faye. Stephanie, if you're still there and still part of the room, um, Faye says, I would suggest not missing any visits with the kids because the father of the children can claim abandonment, abandonment by the mother. Now, Stephanie, I hope you do come back. I know it may be hard talking on the phone or um, your internet connection. It may be hard working against you. But furthermore, you're going to need a attorney to help you. I think right now you and your father of the children don't have attorneys, and he's a smart cookie and he's taking advantage of you. And so, what I'd like to right now at this time is to talk about one of my first rules. And one of my rules is rule number one. and that is uh, to talk to an attorney to start off with. And I have an attorney. His name is Vincent W. Davis, and I want to thank him for making this podcast possible. He is a 35-year attorney fighting CPS, and he's also a trial attorney. He's won many cases of fighting CPS and getting the children back. He works in all the 50 states and in Northern California. Right now, he's got a case in Merced County up north. He's got several cases in the LA area, and then he has one case in Oklahoma. But he will help you. And right now, I've made arrangements with him for a consultation with Mr. Davis. You can call him at 888-888-6582. That is the office. When you call in, make sure you tell him that Bob Pace sent you. Make sure when you call in, it says Bob Pace sent you. Good evening. This is Bob Pace.
Hello?
Yeah, this must be
Hello?
Natalie from West Hollywood.
Yes.
Well, welcome, Natalie. Could you hold on a second so I can explain to you what's going on?
Yes.
Okay. Tonight, my podcast is live, and we've had a guest speaker, which was Stephanie from Arkansas.
Okay.
She was a mother who once was in foster care herself, later on had 4 children with a guy who's the father, but they don't have a husband-wife or a girlfriend-boyfriend relationship. So what happened is that the father of the children filed a custody order in court to gain custody of the children on false allegations against the mother. The mother is very frustrated because she doesn't like what's going on. Now they did have a domestic court order, but that was dropped, and she has visitations with her 4 children. They were changed to supervised, but she hasn't started that because she's frustrated because before they weren't. But she's doing all the wrong things, and CPS is taking that advantage against her.
Okay. Looks like I need help.
Yeah, she does help it. Now, Faye's in the room.
For the visitation and also to put the restraining order
Yeah,
on him.
Faye is in the room, and she's been helping out tremendously.
Hi, Faye.
And Natalie says hi, Faye. Faye further says, let me see what further Faye, she says, they're supposed to allow you to be involved in the medical educational decisions of your kids and attend school IEP and programs as well as medical appointments. So what Faye's trying to do, she's trying to help out Stephanie.
Wait, is she disabled?
No, I don't know if she has disabilities, but maybe Faye says she would probably do better calling the number. She was given a link by my show producer. She was on the show, but she dropped off. She got the link to work again, but now she's dropped off. It may be an internet thing. So maybe Stephanie should call in because it's not just working what she's trying to do by being a guest on the show.
Okay.
Faye, I have no way of reaching Stephanie because I don't have her phone number. The only person that has her phone number is my show producer. And maybe she could contact Stephanie and tell her to call in. And if she calls in, then I'll drop your call, Natalie. I'll drop your call to take her in there.
Right.
But I'm not dropping you yet. I've just got you here. So right now we have on the phone.
I'm trying to analyze the situation for her to help.
Right. We have Natalie on the phone from West Hollywood. And she comes to this podcast like Faye. It really helps out the other moms, the other parents.
she had the drug test. So were they were the real ones, right? Not the ones that they give you in the court.
She has no problem with drugs. I mean, the
I know.
the father of the kids went to a custody court to gain custody of the children and made false allegations. But she has taken numerous of drug tests showing she isn't there. She also shown she doesn't have mental issues. The problem is neither one of them are using attorneys. I don't even think they're using court-appointed attorneys. And I was just talking about having Stephanie contact Vincent Davis. And I was giving out the phone number as 888-888-6582. And when you call in, make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. And when you talk to Mr. Davis, make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you. So hopefully Stephanie will call back in and she can get there. Stephanie, you're back. Stephanie, can you call the number, my office number here? Can you call me at 626-698-0990? Can you call me, Stephanie? Faye is asking Stephanie, are you able to call in to my number? My number is 626-698-0990. And Natalie will drop off.
Yes.
Yes, please call in, Stephanie, back in from Arkansas. Please call in.
Okay.
Yeah, I've done that, Faye. I moved the comment. It should show up on the screen as my phone number, 626-698-0990. So if Stephanie calls in, then I'll drop you, Natalie, okay?
Okay. All right. It's 105 here in West Hollywood.
I will believe it. It's 95 here at the beach. So we're having our hot weather.
We're at the beach. I'm at 105 off the Sunset Strip. So
yeah, you're a little bit
I don't
more
know what they're
inland.
going to do with the whiskey tonight.
Yeah, you're a little bit more inland. Yes. Okay, I'm gonna drop the call, Natalie, so that Stephanie can call in. Thank you for calling in. Thank you. Okay, so now my phone is free, and Stephanie, you can call me at my number 626-698-0990. That's 626-698-0990. And we can finish what you have to say and help you. I like at least you have the number of Vincent Davis so that you can call and talk to him, because he'll offer to anybody a consultation for 30 minutes for $60. He knows CPS. He will help you navigate. CPS is very complex. CPS is like open heart surgery. You need a professional attorney to fight CPS, one that has fought CPS, one that has family, juvenile, dependency law background. I know it's pricey, but I'm talking about the consultation, Faye. For 30 minutes, they could spend $60, at least talk to a real attorney, one that will steer them in the right direction. I know a retainer is very expensive, especially being out of state. I know it's very, very pricey. But I know that when you have one of the best attorneys around, that if you could talk to them for 30 minutes for $60, it's worth every penny of the $60. Yeah, Faye was replying to Stephanie that it's very pricey. Um, but you need to talk to Vincent Davis about his retainer, about whether you want to have him represent you. But you won't be able to fight CPS or your father of the children without an attorney, because without an attorney, it's the same thing like open heart surgery. Would you do open heart surgery with an auto mechanic or a dishwasher? No, you're going to get somebody that has experience as a doctor. That's why I need some experience as an attorney. And that's the mistake that I made. I did get Vincent Davis, but I waited about 6 months before I got him. And I lost my daughter because of that. Because I figured that if he got aboard right away, my daughter would not have been taken away from me and my wife. Yes, Vincent can travel, but it is pricey. You have to understand. Vincent needs a hotel and food while he's there in Arkansas. He'll need transportation, airfare, and ground transportation. So those are added expenses that you normally don't have that attorney who's close to you in the area. So those are added expenses. But his regular expenses, his lawyer fees, are just as good as any other attorney around the country. And he's very fair. He's very, very fair. And I agree with you, Faye. It is pricey to most people to pay for accommodations and air travel. It's hard. It's hard to find an attorney. A lot of people are hiring attorneys and wasting $20,000 or $30,000, which is sad because that's a lot of money that they lost. Now, I would like to, with the remainder of the time, because I don't know if Stephanie's going to be able to call in or not. My phone number's up there, but for whatever reason, maybe she'll have to call in tomorrow. But Faye, you and I had a backup plan to discuss, besides the ADA and besides the mental health issues involved, also what you're doing with the news media of trying to get something done. You see, for a long time, Faye and I have been talking about how we can make changes, how we can make changes, how we can make changes. And Faye was interviewed by a news reporter and has put together a very good report. Faye, would you like to explain what you're doing with to make changes in your place in Richmond, Kentucky? We have about 4 minutes left of the podcast. Stephanie, again, my phone number is 626-698-0990. And the other number, 888-888-6582, is the number to call in to get a consultation with Mr. Davis, a real bona fide dependency family juvenile attorney with lots of experience. He's done civil lawsuits and got back, won millions of dollars, both in federal and state courts. Faye is trying to get the laws and policies changed. So she wrote a report. Here's what Faye says. Just trying to get laws and policy changed. Faye also says, and parents' constitutional protected rights recognized and upheld in family court. Those are good things, Faye. Those are good things. Now I have about 4 minutes left. Is there anything else you'd like to say, Faye, about what you're doing? She further says, open up family courts from secret to public. You see, right now, the courts in California, you can't go into court. You cannot go into court, and the courts are not open, and it should be public because they're very corrupt. Now, Faye further says, and to abolish anonymity. I agree. I think anybody that calls in must sign a statement with their name and contact information, and then CPS should explore it, and the person should not be guilty until they're proven guilty. See, right now, CPS takes the layman's report and they think you're guilty right away. So I think there should be no anonymity of people hiding behind a phone. If they put it in writing and sign their name with a contact number and email, then they're not hiding. And if the stuff they say is not true, they can be persecuted. And that's how it should be. That's how it should be. Okay, we're down to the witching hour of 3 minutes left. We've had an interesting night tonight. I want to thank all the emojis, the hearts, the thumbs up, anything else there. I want to thank all my listeners who've been in the room listening and taking notes. I hope you're able to learn something tonight. Everybody should have the phone number to get a hold of Mr. Davis. It's well worth the $60 to spend 30 minutes with him on Zoom. He'll spend 30 minutes with you on Zoom. And also, Faye says she is trying to fight pushing for jury trials instead of one judge and one juror. I agree. There should be jury trials by the peers to decide whether the parents are bad or not bad. Now, Faye says good night and God bless you all. I want to say good night to Natalie. Thank you, Natalie from West Hollywood, calling in. Thank you, Stephanie Brocklin from Arkansas, who was our guest tonight and had some internet problems. I hope you'll join me again tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock is my next time. I'll be on 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time, and love to see you all there. God bless you all. Keep fighting for your kids and don't give up. This is Bob Pace